Week 5 recap is officially upon us, people. Let's go! Rams versus 49ers on Thursday Night Football. It was a really entertaining contest between Matthew Stafford and the Rams and Mac Jones and the 49ers. It was back and forth the entire way through, and the game eventually went into overtime. In overtime, the 49ers got the ball and kicked a field goal to go up 26-23. And then the Rams were marching down the field. And then on 4th and 1, Kyren Williams decided to run in and try to get in for a first down. But unfortunately, he was ruled short to give the Niners the win and first place in the NFC West. Shout out to drunk driver McCorkle Jones for a really good game despite being somewhat banged up. 342 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Does that mean Mac Jones is the new Tom Brady? We shall see. Browns versus Vikings in London. This was kind of a boring game, if I'm being honest. There is not a lot of scoring and a lot of punts. And I mean a lot of them. It was back and forth the entire way through, and in the fourth quarter, with Minnesota down by 3, Carson Wentz threw a touchdown pass to Jordan Addison with less than 25 seconds left, and unsurprisingly, it was not enough time for Cleveland to come up with a score, sealing the win for the Vikings 21-17. Dillon Gabriel's NFL debut was somewhat impressive, but it wasn't enough to get the win for Cleveland. But just remember this, Browns fans. You guys haven't had a successful quarterback since the 80s. The 80s! Jets versus Cowboys. The Cowboys unsurprisingly beat the hell out of the New York Jets, which is unsurprising to say the least. And now the Jets are the only winless team. Great! Dak Prescott once again had a really good game, 237 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. And also shout out to Jake Ferguson, who had 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. And also shout out to Devontae Williams for scoring 2 touchdowns in this game and going through a game without breaking his leg in half. And the other day, it was revealed that Jerry Jones put up the middle finger at Jets fans and was fined $250,000. Just another day in Jerry's world, am I right? Saints versus Giants. The Saints finally got their first win of the season, which is really surprising and also not surprising. And Spencer Rattler also got his first win as an NFL starter. So good for him. But anyways, as for the New Jersey Giants, Jackson Dart played a really horrible game. After looking really good against the Chargers, he turned into hot garbage against the Saints, throwing 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And shout out to Raheem Shaheed, try to say that 5 times fast, who had a really good game. 4 receptions for 114 receiving yards and a touchdown. Colts versus Raiders. The Colts, unsurprisingly, kicked the ever-living snot out of the helpless Raiders. And yeah, I think it's time to bench Geno Smith. He is playing horrible in Vegas. But don't worry, Raiders Nation. Eventually, Geno Smith will get benched and will be replaced by Cam Miller, and he will eventually be the Raiders' starting quarterback. We just got to be patient. But anyways, as for the Colts, Daniel Jones had a really good game, and so did Jonathan Taylor. Panthers versus Dolphins. Dolphins, what the hell? You guys lost to a Panthers team coming into this game was 1-3. You guys had a 17-point lead in the first half, and you blew it? I legit think that the Miami Dolphins are horrible. After Darren Waller scored a 4-yard touchdown pass to go up 17-0, it looked like it was going to be an easy Miami Dolphins win, right? Nope. Xavier Legette scored a 7-yard touchdown pass to make it 17-7, and then Ryan Fitzgerald nailed a 35-yard field goal to make it 17-10 entering half. Ryan Fitzgerald nailed a 49-yard field goal to make it 17-13. Then Rico Dowdle scored a 1-yard touchdown run to give Carolina a 20-17 lead. Miami finally scores on a 46-yard touchdown pass from Tua to Jalen Waddle to give Miami 24-20 lead. And then Bryce Young threw a pass to someone named Mitchell Evans to give Carolina a 27-24 lead with 1:59 left, which was enough time for the Dolphins to try to get into field goal range and send this game in overtime. But no, they couldn't get anything. They couldn't even score at all, sealing the upset win for the Panthers 27-24. And as for Mike McDaniel, you know, the guy that everybody thinks is the funniest head coach in the entire league, his team is 1-4 right now, and they're getting nowhere. Just fire him. Just fire him. He doesn't know how to coach without even choking when it matters most. Just get rid of him. It's that simple, guys. Eagles versus Broncos. The Broncos have given the Eagles their first loss of the season in a 21-17 upset win. And also, Eagles fans, stop blaming the refs. Okay, stop. The refs are not the reason why you guys blew a 17-3 lead, and it's not their fault that Devontae Smith couldn't grab the ball on that last Hail Mary, which was incomplete. Okay? You guys lost. So stop coming up with excuses why you lost. And yes, I know that pass interference no call was horrible, but you guys still had multiple chances to win the game, and you just couldn't do it. And did I forget to mention that Philly blew a 17-3 lead? After Saquon Barkley scored on a receiving touchdown, it looked like it was going to be a fifth straight win for Philly, right? Nope. J.K. Dobbins scored a 2-yard touchdown run to make it 17-10, and then Evan Ingram scored an 11-yard touchdown pass to make it 18-17, and then Will Lutz nailed a 36-yard field goal to make it 21-17 with 1 minute and 11 seconds left. A lot of time for the Eagles to score a game-winning touchdown, and they just couldn't do it. And on the last play, Jalen Hurts threw a Hail Mary, which was into the hands of Devontae Smith, but he dropped it, sealing the win for the Broncos. Ravens versus Texans. The Texans kicked the ever-living snot out of Edgar Allan Poe's Baltimore Ravens. And yes, the team is based on the book, The Raven, written by Edgar Allan Poe. Anyway, C.J. Stroud had a really good game, 244 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Meanwhile, the other quarterback, Cooper Rush, played horrible. 179 passing yards and 3 interceptions. And the only person to score a touchdown for the Ravens was Derrick Henry. With Lamar Jackson basically injured, the Ravens are almost screwed. And right now they're sitting at 1-4, and they're pretty much have the same record as the Cleveland Browns. Sucks to suck. But hey, they can always try to pick up Tyler Huntley. You know, the last Ravens quarterback to make a Pro Bowl. He should have never made that Pro Bowl to begin with. He is a backup for a reason, people! Cardinals versus Titans. The Titans finally got a win this season in an upset win against the Cardinals. And you're not going to believe this, but the Cardinals blew a big lead. They blew a 21-6 lead against the Titans. The Titans! And they allowed 16 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. This is what happened in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is what really happened. Tony Pollard scored a 1-yard touchdown run to make it 21-12. It could have been 21-13 if their kicker made that extra point. And then there was a fumble in the end zone and was recovered by Tyler Lockett, of all people, to make it 21-19. And then Tennessee got the ball back and let Joey Sal nail the 29-yard game-winning field goal as the clock hit 0 to give the Titans a 22-21 victory against the Cardinals. And this game will be forever remembered as Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon had a sideline altercation with Cardinals running back Amari DiMercato. And he was getting all in his face, yelling at him, and then hitting him in the arm, and now he is fined $100,000 for it. Eventually, Jonathan Gannon did apologize to this in front of the media, but this is no excuse for this James Murray lookalike to literally hit his running back in the frickin' arm. Right now, the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at 2-3, and all of their losses was determined by a game-losing field goal. That's right. They lost 3 straight weeks by a game-losing field goal. Congrats, you worthless pieces of garbage. Seahawks versus Buccaneers. The best game of the week. It was back and forth the entire way through with a lot of scoring. And I mean a lot of scoring. And both quarterbacks in this game played a really good game. And this game really came down to the last minute of the fourth quarter, where the Seahawks were trying to march down the field for a game-winning field goal, but Sam Darnold threw an interception to Levante David and set up the Buccaneers with a good chance to score a game-winning field goal, and they set up Chase McLaughlin with a game-winning 39-yard field goal as the clock hit 0 to give the Buccaneers a 38-35 victory. And this is also the first time in NFL history that both starting quarterbacks threw for over 340 passing yards in the same game. But anyways, after this game, Tampa sits at 4-1 and is currently first place in the NFC South. And now Baker Mayfield is an MVP candidate. And as for the Seahawks, it was a heartbreaking loss. But honestly, Seattle, good game. You guys put up a really good fight and you gave us a really entertaining game on Sunday. So, good game. Bengals versus Lions. As a Bengals fan, I legitimately thought that the Lions were going to score 45 points on us and crumble us up like a used tissue. But surprisingly, we actually put up a really good fight in the fourth quarter. Anyways, as for our quarterback, Jake Browning, he had a really frustrating game. 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But however, Jamar Chase had a really good game. 6 receptions for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. But as for the Lions, Jared Goff had a really good game. 258 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And also, David Montgomery had 18 carries for 65 yards, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown. And Lions fans, I'm not going to hold a grudge against you guys because I really like your team and your fans are really cool. So, you guys honestly kicked our ass and it was honestly expected. So, good game. But as for my Bengals, we are finally relieving Jake Browning as starting quarterback, which is a relief. But now we just picked up Joe Flacco. I mean, I doubt that he's going to get destroyed by his offensive lineman against Green Bay, right? Right? Chargers versus Commanders. The Commanders completely destroyed the Chargers 27-10. And this is the second week in a row that the Chargers lost to an NFC East team in which, by the way, they were favored to win both times. And I know the Chargers are at a 2-game losing streak, but I'm not ready to press the panic button on them yet. But if they have another confusing loss like this next week, then I think it's time to press the panic button for the Bolts. But as for the Commanders, it was a much-needed win in Jaden Daniels' return from injury. So, yeah, next. Bills versus Patriots on Sunday Night Football. The Patriots just handed the Buffalo Bills their first loss of the season in a 23-20 upset win. And not gonna lie, the loss was mainly on the Bills' defense. They had a chance to send the game into overtime, but they allowed Drake May and Stephon Diggs to march down the field and set up their kicker for the game-winning field goal to give New England a 23-20 victory. Drake May had a really good game, even though he didn't throw a touchdown pass, which kind of blows my mind, considering that they scored 23 points. And Stephon Diggs was really clutch in this game, and he had 10 receptions for 146 receiving yards. And now Stephon Diggs is 2-0 against Josh Allen since he left Buffalo. And speaking of Josh Allen, the loss really isn't his fault because his defense didn't give him a chance to get the ball back. And I know he did throw an interception, which wasn't really his fault. The defender just had a gold opportunity to rush and grab the football, which turned into an interception. So it's not entirely Josh Allen's fault. Bills Mafia, I know this is a heartbreaking loss, but hey, you guys are first place in the AFC East, and you guys are 4-1, and you guys should be fine. And as for the Patriots fans, please stop glazing Drake May. Okay? I know he's playing really good so far, but let's stop with all the crazy talk. Drake May. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league. He's going to be in the MVP conversation. He's going to be in the next Tom Brady. Like, dude, he's not even on that level. And finally, Jaguars versus Chiefs on Monday Night Football. In the first half, I thought it was going to be the same old Chiefs win, where they completely dominate their opponents and get every single call go their way in huge moments. And right when I saw that no pass interference call against the Chiefs, I actually wanted to stop watching this game, but I ended up continue watching this game, and I'm happy that I stayed. And after Kansas City was up 14-0, Jacksonville finally stopped playing with their food, as Trevor Lawrence found Parker Washington for a 3-yard touchdown pass just before half. And then in the third quarter, Trevor Lawrence ran in for a 10-yard touchdown run to tie it at 14. And then the Chiefs were marching deep in Jacksonville territory. And then Mahomes threw a terrible interception to David Lloyd, who scored a 99-yard pick six to give Jacksonville a 21-14 lead. And then in the fourth quarter, Kareem Hunt scored a 5-yard touchdown run to tie it at 21. And then Cam Little nailed a 52-yard field goal to tie it, or to take the lead, 24-21. And then Kareem Hunt scored a 2-yard touchdown run to give KC a 28-24 lead. And then the biggest play of the night happened. Trevor Lawrence tripped over his offensive lineman and then got up, escaped the blitz, and then ran in for a touchdown run to give Jacksonville a 31-28 lead with 23 seconds left. KC couldn't get into Jacksonville territory, and then Mahomes threw a desperate Hail Mary, which was incomplete, to give the Jaguars the upset win against the Chiefs, 31-28. Not only did the Jags get a huge upset win on primetime, but Trevor Lawrence also won this game on his birthday. So good for him. And as for the Chiefs, I mean, it just sucks for them. They didn't get the three-peat that they wanted in February, and Chiefs fans were depressed because it's not like they won 3 Super Bowls in the last, 5 years. And it's just such a shame that Kermit and Taylor Swift's boyfriend got embarrassed against the Jaguars. When will the Chiefs finally get fortune go their way, am I right? Chiefs suck!